Angelo came home soaked from the rain to find a letter waiting, a photo of his little brother tucked inside. The memories hit him at once, and he muttered a single name, Nero. The story rewound to the night that started everything. In a house deep in the woods, Angelo's family gathered for his birthday, his friend Corteo among the guests. His father, Testa Lagusa, saw Corteo off and drove away, not noticing a car quietly tailing him home. That night, a man named Vincent came to the door with his men. Testa hid a knife and stalled, but Vincent accused the family of betrayal. When Vincent seized Angelo's mother, his little brother panicked and ran out. Angelo tried to hold him back. The family begged for their lives, but Vincent told the boy he'd never forget this night, then killed them all. Angelo crawled from hiding, held his dying mother's hand, and fled as gunfire chased him into the dark. Corteo took him in, calling him brother. By morning, Angelo had vanished from the city. 7 years later he returned, colder, calling himself Avilio. He found Corteo running a small liquor business and stepped in when thugs tried to beat him into selling out. Over drinks, Corteo revealed his mother had died, and Angelo said nothing could stop him now. He asked Corteo to join him and sell his liquor, to get close to the men who'd destroyed his family. Corteo hesitated, then agreed, and the two became brothers again. Days later, they brought their liquor to a mafia boss to strike a deal in a city split between 3 families, Veneti, Orco, and Galassia. Mid-negotiation, a gunman named Fango, a man working for Orco, burst in hunting a man called Nero, accusing him of stealing his liquor supply. To protect Corteo, Angelo claimed the name himself, fought Fango off with a knife and burning alcohol, and escaped in a getaway car with the people who were also there during the attack. Only once they were safe did the driver pull off his fake beard. He was the real Nero Veneti, and the name that had haunted Angelo since that bloody night belonged to the man driving the car. Soon after, at a Veneti wedding, Angelo met the family properly. Don Veneti's daughter Fio was marrying Rinaldo, nephew of Don Galassia, a match meant to bind the 3 families together, though no one really trusted anyone. Nero's brother Fred backed the match. Nero didn't, and Rinaldo's arrogance nearly started a brawl with Angelo. That night, Vano, a childhood friend of Nero, offered Angelo a way into the family. Kill the Orco man who'd murdered his partner a few nights ago. Angelo agreed in order to gain trust. The hit went wrong when Fango slipped out a window before Angelo could finish him. But Vano had his own target that night, a man called Serpent, tied to his partner's death, and ran him down at a cemetery, killing him at his partner's grave. Turning around, he found Angelo's gun already on him. Angelo gave his real name, Angelo Lagusa, son of the man Vano had helped murder years before, and pulled the trigger. Nero suspected Angelo at once and held him at gunpoint, but backed off when Angelo argued he'd have already fled the city if he were guilty. A bigger problem followed. Serpent's body had gone missing, someone had hid it, and suspicion fell on both him and Corteo. Angelo, to clear his name, found out who stole the body. It turned out to be Sirotto, a low-ranking Veneti family member, had secretly taken Serpente's body after his death and sold it for money. With the body found, suspicion fall off Angelo killing Vano, and they believe his story of both of them killing each other. After the incident with Serpente's body, Nero and Angelo go into hiding. The Orco family suspects Nero of being involved in Serpente's death, causing tensions to rise. The two were on the run together, hanging out like friends. One night by the fire, Nero admitted that at 14, his first job had been to kill a man named Lagusa over a debt. The job went wrong, and the boy who should have died got away. Angelo said nothing. He knew exactly who that boy was. Their peace broke when a hulking hitman began hunting Nero for a bounty, surviving gunfire through raw strength alone. After a brutal last stand in an abandoned farmhouse, Angelo and Nero killed him together with a knife, and something between them shifted, wary alliance edging toward trust. They reached Nero's hidden lodge as tensions were rising. Fango had broken away from the Orco family and was building his own faction, while the Venetis and Orcos were trying to deal with the growing conflict. Corteo, now brewing the Venetis family's liquor now known as Lawless Heaven, asked Angelo when he planned to kill Nero. Not yet, Angelo said. He needed Nero's trust first, to get close enough to reach Don Veneti. That trust was tested fast. Fred and Rinaldo conspired against Nero behind his back, and an ambush left his right-hand man Tigre badly wounded. Desperate, Nero struck an uneasy alliance with Fango to bring down Orco in order to save Tigre and have a safe place to stay. Angelo and Nero lured Orco to their hidden lodge, saying they would give him Lawless Heaven recipe. Angelo drugged Orco. They then handed the unconscious Orco over to Fango as part of their deal. Fango killed Orco, took control of his family, and secretly served Orko's body to the executives at a celebration. Ronald manipulated Freight's insecurity and convinced him that Nero was ruining the family. Angelo, with his own plan, persuaded Volpe, one of Nero's loyal men, to shoot at Ronald's car, then killed Volpe and staged his death so Freit would believe Nero had ordered the attack. Convinced that Nero was trying to kill him, Freit declared war on his brother. Later, Ronald planned to kill Nero during a meeting, but Fio shot and killed him to protect Nero. Angelo then gave Freit an unloaded gun, knowing Freit would try to shoot Nero. When the gun failed, Nero fired back in self-defense, killing his own brother, exactly the outcome Angelo wanted. A new FBI agent, Delelfi, publicly vowed to crush both the Venettis and Fango. Angelo silenced him with cash and a threat against his daughter, alarming Corteo, who saw how much Angelo had changed. Wanting to save Angelo from the mafia, Corteo secretly gave Fango information about Nero's movements, hoping Fango would kill him. However, Fango's attempts failed. When Fango later threatened to expose Corteo as the traitor, Corteo snapped and beat him to death before trying to escape lawless. Caught fleeing the city days later, Corteo was dragged in and beaten for the betrayal. He then mysteriously disappeared. Later, Angelo received a phone call from Corteo, who had been forced by an unknown person to tell him that Nero had to die by morning. The next day, Don Venetti formally named Nero head of the family. Angelo discovered that Ganzo, Don Venetti's longtime advisor and right-hand man, was the mysterious third man involved in the Lagusa massacre, and the one who had sent him the letter that started his revenge. Gonzo secretly used Angelo's revenge to help destroy the Venettis, so he could eventually take control of Lawless himself. Angelo confronted Gonzo and demanded Corteo in exchange for continuing his revenge, and Gonzo agreed to let Corteo go. Later, Barbero thought that Angelo might have helped Corteo escape and began suspecting him. Gonzo then contacted Corteo, telling him Angelo was in danger, so Corteo returned and confessed that he alone had betrayed Nero because he wanted to save Angelo from the mafia. Nero ordered Angelo to kill Corteo to prove his loyalty, knowing his death would clear Angelo of suspicion and allow him to continue his revenge. Corteo accepted his fate. Angelo shot him, and Corteo died calling him his brother. Broken by having killed Corteo to prove his loyalty, Angelo is left hollowed out, hallucinating him, barely eating. Barbero grows suspicious and tells Nero that Avilio should be pulled off security for the playhouse opening. He suspects Avilio resents them over Corteo. Nero brushes it off, saying he's cleared himself and calling him an empty shell he intends to give a reason to live. That night, Nero visits his dying father. Vincent finally admits the truth. Testa Lagusa was his best friend, and he still carries deep regret over killing him. It was him who betrayed Lagusa. The next day is the Playhouse's grand opening, with Don Galassia and his nephew Strega attending. Ganzo's real plan unfolds. Ganzo had secretly teamed up with Strega, Don Galassia's nephew. Their plan was to use Angelo to kill Vincent and Nero, allowing Gonzo to take control of the Venetti family, while Strega benefited from their downfall. Avilio and some Galassia men are to take out Vincent's bodyguard, Del Toro, so Avilio can get close enough to kill both Vincent and Nero. But Barbero catches Avilio mid-act, knife in Del Toro. Avilio is captured and interrogated by Barbero until Ganzo is brought in and shoots Barbero dead on the spot to cover the plot. Avilio is let go, and Barbero's murder gets pinned on him. Nero finds the letter, realizes what's happening, and races to stop Avilio, too late. Don Galassia, in on the plot, has already ushered Avilio into Vincent's private box. Avilio reveals himself as Testa's son, then shoots Don Galassia instead, leaving Vincent alive and blowing up Ganzo's entire scheme. Chaos erupts. Strega, seeing his uncle dead, immediately shoots Ganzo for not being able to control Angelo, then orders his men to slaughter the Venettis. The Playhouse and the island descend into a full-scale massacre. Vincent dies from his illness amid the wreckage, in his son's arms. Avilio is captured by Strega's men, but Nero takes him back by force, not as a rescue, but to keep him as his own. With the Venetti family destroyed and Strega now seizing Galassia's throne to finish them off entirely, Nero flees lawless with Avilio as his prisoner. On the road, mirroring their earlier road trip, the two talk. Both of them now have no one. Angelo asked to see the sea. He never had. They camped along the way. Avilio admits the revenge gave him no satisfaction. His family and Corteo are still gone, and he still feels empty. They reached the cliffs above the water. Angelo walked ahead toward the edge. Behind him, Nero raised his gun. The shot is heard, but the show cuts away before confirming the kill. The story ending exactly where it began, with two broken brothers.